15 habits that will determine your wealth or your poverty. My friends, welcome to the Wealth Outside of Wall Street YouTube channel, where you learn how to take control of your money, take it off of Wall Street, and become financially free in 10 years or less. Now, I want you to consider this. Have you ever wondered what keeps some people perpetually poor while others seem to thrive financially? Today we're going to dive deep into the 15 habits that can either keep you broke or make you wealthy. Stick around, because at the end of this video, I'm going to reveal how you can flip these habits to achieve financial freedom and success in 10 years or less. Let's get started. Charlie Munger, one of the world's most famous investors, recently passed away, I believe at the age of either 99 or 100, and he had a famous talk that he would give over and over and over again. And you would think because of its fame, the talk would be titled something differently, but here's the title of the talk. It's How to Live a Miserable Life. Now, my friends, that might sound like a crazy topic to be so famous, but Charlie Munger had a way of thinking. It's called process inversion thinking, and it's the way to solve problems in reverse. For example, if you wanted to become financially free, you would simply sit down and list all of the ways that you would not achieve this result. Then you would simply do the exact opposite. That's right, my friends, our brains are much better at finding problems than they are at finding solutions. So what we do is we harness this innate ability that we have as humans to find problems. And then by default, we also discover the solution. I'm gonna go through these in reverse and give you the 15 rules to become wealthy and free. So let's dive right in. Rule number 1 is not having a why behind saving for the future. I want you to consider this. Every dollar that you're putting away for the future isn't for you today. It's for the future version of you. So simply sit down and think about that person. What would he or she want? Where does he or she want to live? What would he or she come back and thank you today for having done? Get a why behind your saving, and it will give you so much meaning and purpose, because you'll realize you're simply working for you just in the future. Rule number 2, they don't control the controllables. Listen, my friends, achieving financial freedom is really pretty simple. It's save more, spend less. It's make more money and save more money. The Richest Man in Babylon, one of the greatest books of all time, said that 10% of all I make is mine to keep. It's the secret that very few people want to acknowledge. Today, my friends, the savings rate of an average American is just under 5%. And with such a small savings rate, most people are hoping that the stock market or some investment can magically save them. My friends, savings is the one thing that you have 100% control over. And stop right there. If you're inserting any stories, I can't save because fill in the blank, that is, my friends, a story. And that's what will keep you trapped. Savings isn't something that just happens. You have to plan for a budget surplus. It's a discipline and a commitment to your future self. Take ownership of your money, because the freedom that you require, my friends, it requires stewardship. Problem number 3 is most people fall into the consumer condition trap. My friends, building on the topic of savings, the reason most people don't save is they spend everything they have. They make the decisions of where they want to put their money based on how much it costs. And they think that spending money is somehow going to give them the happiness that they desire. My friends, this is quite literally the definition of the rat race. It's when you trade your time. Money that you have today essentially represents time that you've already traded. So any dollar that you spend your money on is a representation of the value that you have on your time. If you frivolously spend that money, then you're dishonoring yourself, you're dishonoring the time that you've already traded, and my friends, remember, you're dishonoring the future version of yourself. It's time to break out of the rat race by prioritizing being rich over simply looking rich. Stop asking yourself if you can afford the payment and start asking yourself, can you afford to not save more money to becoming financially free? Number 4, most people devalue money. Consider this really quickly. We use money every single day, but what is it actually? What does it represent? My friends, as we talked about in the previous one, money simply represents time. In a movie done by Justin Timberlake a long time ago, it was called In Time, and it was a dystopian movie about people working to get more time to live. Every hour that someone worked added a surplus of time that they would ultimately live. And if they stopped working, their time would run out and they would ultimately die. My friends, money represents time. It's a universal truth. Once you understand that money is a translation for the time, start asking yourself, how do you want to be spending your time? How have you spent your time up to this point? And know that money is the tool to unlock your future time. Financial freedom is nothing more than when your assets produce an income stream independent of your time, allowing allowing you, my friends, to own and control your time. Number 5, most people have an external locus of control versus an internal locus of control. An external locus of control refers to the belief that external factors such as luck, fate, or other people or circumstances beyond one's control are the primary determinants of the events and outcomes in one's life. People with an external locus of control tend to attribute their success or failures to outside influences rather to their own actions and abilities. This concept contrasts with the internal locus of control. This is when people believe that they actually have control over their life, the events that happen in their life, and the outcomes through their own efforts and decisions. My friends, when you don't save, you shift your hopes and dreams onto investments. You hire a professional. They don't get you the results that you desire, and so you blame them. You try alternative investing looking to go faster, and when it doesn't work out, you blame that external investment. My friends, if you want to change your life, start to adopt an internal locus of control and start to raise your financial IQ and use money as a tool to build and live a life that matters. Number 6, adopting average advice and expecting above average results. I want you to consider this, my friends. The entire game of traditional conventional finance, it's based on one concept. It's based on the concept of average. It's for average people seeking an average result, hoping for an average retirement one day, and settling for average advice and average results. My friends, you are on this YouTube channel because you are different, and that's great. I want you to embrace that difference, and I want you to give yourself the permission to walk away from the cult of the average, because winning in an average game isn't actually winning. It's just average plus 1. It's being a little bit better than the person next to you. My friends, it's time to stop tolerating mediocrity and walk away from the cult of the average. Greatness is never average plus 1. Greatness is usually the result of people doing the exact opposites. So number 7, it's not budgeting or having a spending plan. My friends, listen to this. You have to become the CEO of your money. Nobody is going to tell your money what to do except you. When you become the CEO of your money, you tell your money what to do based on the goals and values that you have, and then, just like any good CEO, you make sure it's done what you wanted it to do, and you constantly course correct as necessary. Habit number 8 that keeps most people poor is they don't have a concept of protecting money. They go from I've made a little bit of money to I want to invest money and get a high rate of return, and they skip the entire middle. The entire middle is making money and keeping money, protecting what you've made. There is no faster way to abundance and financial freedom than getting in a good, solid habit of making money and keeping money. My friends, if there's one thing that comes up constantly in most people's life, well, not in most people, in everyone's life, is emergencies. It's things, it's unexpected. And most people rely on credit cards. You know, today, most people cannot cover a discretionary expense above $500. What that ultimately means is they've never figured out how to keep money set aside. Number 1 habit that you need to be building outside of making money is figuring out how to keep the money that you've made. Number 9, most people think short term when it relates to money. The number 1 power that you have to harness if you want to become financially free is continuous compounding. And the function of compound interest is quite simply this: it's time. To get the big effects of the compound interest curve, you have to give your money enough time to have compounded long enough to give you the exciting benefits that compound interest can provide. So start thinking long term and stop thinking short term. Number 10, most people confuse speculating with investing. I'm going to give you the 2 definitions right here, right now, and ask yourself, in the last 4 or 5 or 10 places you put your money, have you been speculating or have you been investing? Speculating is when someone parts with their capital with the hope of capital appreciation. They're hoping, in essence, to buy an expectation of a future resale value, meaning they buy a stock, they buy a mutual fund, they buy a piece of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at one price, and they hope at some point down the road they can sell it for a high enough price that it makes sense to trade that asset. Investing, on the other hand, is parting with capital with the expectation of safety of principal. Number 1, safety of principal, and an adequate return in the form of interest, dividends, or rent. Notice how it has nothing to do with buying and selling assets and hoping that someone will buy them at a higher price. Most people today confuse speculating with investing, and this is why most people are so far behind in the game of personal finance. Number 11, being afraid of failure. My friends, you win or you learn. There is no such thing as failure if you're moving forward. Most people are so afraid of failure because that's what we were taught in school. Get an F, you're kicked out. My friends, in the real world, especially in the game of learning, failure is our greatest teacher. A great way to stay poor is to be afraid of failure. Number 12, not understanding that freedom isn't given and happiness isn't permanent. What does that actually mean, my friends? Listen, freedom is something that has to be earned. This is what financial freedom is all about. You raise your financial IQ, you understand how to use money as a tool, you invest it, not speculate it wisely, and you buy your time back. You earn your freedom. But I want you to consider this. I thought in the beginning of my journey that financial freedom was perpetual bliss and happiness, but that is not the reality. Happiness, it's an emotion. It comes and goes. And if you think you're going to be happier there than here, that's a fallacy. So here's the thing I want you to consider. Financial freedom opens the doorway to the greatest adventure of your life, seeking fulfillment. Inside of the game of fulfillment, you start to live a purpose-based life. You start to chase after things that do not require money as the primary driver of the decisions that you make. This underlining sense of fulfillment, that's a way of life. Happiness in that process will come and go. You'll still face trials, you'll still have challenges, so don't think that financial freedom is going to be this perpetual state of happiness and bliss. Financial freedom is earned, and the pursuit of fulfillment, my friends, that is the greatest adventure of your life. Habit number 13, they wait. They wait for perfect conditions. They wait for one day. They wait for the hope that everything's gonna work out. They wait for the economy to turn. Whatever it is, most people wait. They wait because they're afraid. They wait because they listen to the pundits on TV. They wait and wait before long. They look back and they realize that they've spent their entire lives waiting for the perfect conditions. My friends, the number one thing I hear from people that I work with is I wish I would have started when? 5, 10, 15 years ago. We've all heard the proverb, the best time to plant a seed is 20 years ago. But the second best time to do it, my friends, is right now. Stop waiting, start moving. Number 14, doing your best. My friends, this might sound like a good habit to have, but this is actually an excuse. Rarely do we give our best. This might sound like a good thing to do, but this is actually an excuse. If you want to become financially free, your best, it's probably not good enough. Your best will be only so good to get you so far. But instead of doing our best, I want you to consider this. What if you simply shifted that belief to not just doing your best, but to doing whatever was required? That changes the game completely, and you'll realize that your best oftentimes falls short, and it requires you to learn, to develop, to grow, to advance, to raise your financial IQ. That is why you're on this YouTube channel right here, right now, my friends, is to understand and realize that your best is only going to get you so far, and it's what you do when your best fails that will change your reality forever. And last but not least, my friends, people stop learning. Poor people stop. They live in the past. They become outdated. The game of money has changed, yet so many people refuse to learn the new rules of the game of money. So my friends, rather than stopping learning, be curious. Always be aware. Be realizing and learning that money and the game of life is constant learning and growth. Learning is ultimately wealth. If you want to become financially free, it's going to require constant intake of information, adaptation of that information to your situation, and then using that information to build and live a life that matters, to use money as a tool to create the wealth that you desire. So my friends, there you have it. Those are the 15 habits that keep most people poor. So to end this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip these habits on their head, and I'm going to give you the 15 habits that will make you free, that will make you wealthy, and that will make you one of the best investors of all time. So number 1, my friends, have a why. Number 2, control the controllables. Number 3, be a producer before you're ever a consumer. Number 4, value money. Number 5, have an internal locus of control. Number 6, never settle for average. Pursue extraordinary at all costs. Number 7, live by a spending plan. Number 8, think long term. Number 9, become an investor, not a speculator. Number 10, fail forward. Number 11, protect the downside. Number 12, rise up and live free. Number 13, go. Number 14, do what is required. And number 15, be curious. My friends, I hope this gave you a sense of what is possible inside of your life. My friends, these 15 habits, these 15 mindsets will allow you to understand that money is a game. It's a game that we are all playing, whether we like it or not. All it requires you to do is learn and understand the rules of the game so you can start winning the game consistently and predictably. My friends, give this video a like, share it with someone who needs to learn the 15 habits of becoming wealthy, and maybe start using inversion thinking in your own life, whether it's with your marriage, whether it's with your health, or anything else. Because when you understand all the things that could go wrong, it's really easy to find out the few things that will give you the solutions that you require. Join me on the next video, my friends, where we'll talk more about investing, financial freedom, and ultimately living your best life using money as the tool that it's designed to be. Fearless.